we ever have anything nice? Because let's be honest here, Helldivers have been a fresh L to a lot of us, and honestly was very awesome the way the game was going with the community and everything. And of course I have to give them way too much credit because right now Helldivers is completely on fire. So if you haven't already seen, Helldivers 2 right now is being review bombed over on a theme, and you might be wondering what exactly happening here, or maybe you have heard some rumblings happening. So let's just go ahead and go back to the start here at far like why this is happening, and it have pretty much 90%. Don't get me wrong, Arrowhead not completely innocent here, but a lot of this started with Sony themselves. So as we all know, up to that point, of course, Helldivers have been cross-play between PC and PlayStation as well, and you could play it without having to worry about setting up a third-party account for PlayStation and PSN, like you probably have done many times when it comes to games from like EA and Ubisoft that you pick up off Steam. And I know there are a few other companies out there that also require like a third-party login. Any of you are playing on Steam, and it have officially come to Helldivers. And of course this all began with a little news update that ended up getting a release at the time of this video, literally about a day and a half ago. Of course I will report it on this a little sooner, but I will let this shake out a little bit because this go way farther than you might think. So let's go ahead and just cover what is happening from this news/blog post. And of course, as said here, due to technical difficulties at the launch of Helldivers 2, we allowed the linking requirement for Steam account to a PlayStation Network account to be a temporary option. So right off the bat here, of course, if you are playing on PC, this was indeed optional to actually sign up for and wasn't required. So that's the fourth thing here, is it becoming required for this, and we will get more detail about all that in a second. But let's go ahead and continue with it, with it saying that the great period will now expire. See detail below in this post. Account linking a player a critical role in protecting all players and upholding the value of safety and security provided by PlayStation and PlayStation Studio games. So little side note there, if you are not aware, that company do all the time get compromised, always get hacked. This is not unheard of by any means, but when it comes to Sony, there have been more times than I can count at that point over the pretty much last decade or so, when Sony have been pretty much compromised in one way or another, and many times, of course, any with credit card information, private account information, and then also with the outage back in, what was that, 2011-ish, as well. Sony, they're not exactly elite, maybe front-facing anyway. Seem like the security is a little all over the place, and also Sony is a pretty big target for hacker groups out there, as well as governments, as well as we have seen with previous attack. So first of all, this right here of stating this is for a security thing. Don't really feel a lot of hope here, especially for anyone who don't want to put them information on Sony servers and whatnot. Honestly, I wouldn't blame them at all for anyone who do not want to deal with it and really take a grain of salt with the whole situation with it being a security thing. Who knows? Maybe it's not as bad as it seems, but man, let's just say the impression from Sony when it comes to security is not exactly the best. But with that being said, let's continue on here with this is our main way of protecting players from grievance and abuse by enabling the banning of players that engage in these types of behavior. It also allows the players that have been banned a right to appeal, which that part, okay, that part, whatever. But at the same time here, let's be honest, this is something that might be helpful in some way, but at the same time, maybe not to the same extent as this, especially by wanting to sidestep the whole theme side and going straight to Sony on this. But nonetheless, that one is maybe not as bad, but still we got more things here that kind of start taking away any benefit that might actually come from this. But as they continue here, as such, as of May 6th, so here at the time of that video, in about 2 days from now, all new Helldiver player on Steam will be required to connect a Steam account to the PlayStation Network account. Current player on Steam will start to see the mandatory login on May 30th. So if you are not a new player, they will indeed start forcing this on May 30th. So keep that in mind. And if you're a new player, you have to May 6th when it will start taking effect. And it will require to have a linked Steam and a PlayStation Network account by June 4th. So, yeah, pretty much right here when it comes to this is, of course, you do got some great period here to get it all set up and linked. But it does seem like starting around June 4th, if you do want to play Helldivers on PC, it will become fully mandated by that point and no longer a optional thing you can do. And of course, from here, we have a link to where you can go ahead and set up your account if you don't already have a PSN account or already have a PS4, PS5, PS3, whatever it might be. They, of course, have a link here, so you can go ahead and do that, especially if you are someone who only play on PC. But with that all being said here, this is something that not completely out of the blue, because if you head over to the theme page, as you go down here, you will, of course, see the announcement saying linking is required. This has been here from the launch of Helldiver on Steam. And when we go ahead and look back at, of course, the new post saying it was, of course, technical issue. The technical issue they were speaking of there is, of course, mainly the server. Helldivers have been, especially on the PC side, of pretty much since we have had issue with servers, have issue with verification. It's been a whole thing. Don't get me wrong, a lot of this stuff have been worked out now, which is probably why they wanting to start rolling this in. And of course, from this, a lot of people might be upset, but once again, this is not surprising. The part of it that start getting extremely upsetting about all this is, of course, got to do with PSN. Because the thing to keep in mind here, this is when all that kind of start falling apart for Sony directly, because when we go ahead and look at this, is, of course, the regions, well, you can go ahead and set up a PlayStation account, is very limited here. Don't get me wrong, there was a whole bunch of a court region here. I will have a link in the description below here on YouTube, so you can go ahead and look to verify your regions are available here. But with that being said, fine, like, it's not available in all regions, but every region that Helldiver is being sold, you can play and set up a PSN account. Why? That is something you can do, right? And the answer is, of course, no. So this is the thing that will start getting more so into why the review banning and happening. So with all information we have from the official Sony URL and website, breaking it down, we do have a list here of every region that Helldiver 2 is available in. And as you can see, this list is a lot bigger than what we have over here on PlayStation. So in return, what ends up going to be happening here, because let's be honest, there are going to be regions, well, of course, in no way a PSN is going to be verified and launched within literally the next months-ish of time, and will more likely probably never have PSN. Might it be for legal reason, might it be for, of course, region specifically stuff, whatever it might be. And of course, this start bringing up the question of if Helldivers was, once again, always meant to have the login, why did Sony allow the sale of Helldivers into regions that don't any have a PSN way to be set up, let alone anything for certain region? And once again, that mainly start getting across either two things. Either this was something that was done on purpose, and without really any care to release game, knowing eventually a large margin of your player will not be able to play your game, and not because of any like moral reason, but because they legally cannot play it because of the region they are located in. And then on the other side of that, maybe this is kind of showing that the PlayStation linking account wasn't exactly meant to be required and meant to stay optional, and of course be like a helping hand here to you know, bring in certain things like we have seen in many other live service games. Well, like when you link accounts, you get like a reward or something specifically to that account. If you play PSO, you know, we have had many of them in the case for new Genesis and bait PSO, and maybe that was like similar here for Helldiver, and that stuff never came to fruition. Or once again, this is something that in return Sony just didn't really think about or care about overall. The issue that comes here with all this, outside of obviously the players that are going to be affected by this and in return not be able to play it, is of course the majority of the players obviously can't exactly get their money back. Yes, you can of course submit to try to do a refund, but with that being said, a true Steam, as we all know, Steam does have the system set up where you can request a refund if you have played the game for less than 2 hours, I believe. If I remember, I'm pretty sure 2 hours. And that can't exactly be happening because, let's be honest, most people who have played Helldivers have already far beyond surpassed that 2-hour window, and without some heavy negotiating with Steam here, of course the player will not be able to get no money back. And at the time of the video, Sony and Steam have not announced it anyway for them people that was affected by that and is going to be affected by that to be refunded if they have played more than the 2 hours. So that right there is of course not only now we have selling the game to region that not supported and never will plan to be supported, and of course not allowing refund there, and with Sony pocketing the money as it stands, right along with of course Steam taking a cut. And of course we start getting into any more so of the angle here from the player base that are affected. But you might be thinking, oh, I play in a region that is available, such as US or whatever, and yet it's annoying, but who cares? There is another reason this is a very much a big deal for the Helldiver community here, is of course how Helldiver function. So the main thing about the game, if you're not aware, is of course Helldiver main plot is of course spread out over weekly challenges that is given, and with Helldiver being built around the whole community and every player working to a goal and a success to accomplish whatever that week a campaign might be for the next part of the story. Might it be once again for the story, unlocking weapons, unlocking other things that become available through a progression through the campaigns. And of course, as we all know, when it comes to game design, a lot of the campaigns that we are experiencing and going to be experiencing is campaigns that been probably planned out long before the game have come out. And with that being said, especially now that the dust is starting to settle on Helldivers and the player base is starting to semi-balance out a little bit here, devs can have more ability to figure out exactly what is required. I know there are always exceptions, such as the 2 billion bugs, as you know if you play the game, but for the most part, these are more looked at the player base and knowing how many players, how they are engaging, and then from there estimating how much or how little need to be put into it to keep it interesting to the player, as well as keeping the game not completely falling flat on its face by overestimating or underestimating these story events and campaigns. And when you have such a large number of players that are gonna vanish from the game and not any because they want to quit, we're going to start running into some issues here, so affect probably a whole bunch of balance issues when it comes to some of this stuff as well. That is some of the issues that are happening at least from Sony. This is some of the issues that are happening for the player base and the players in the continuity of the game itself. But they start getting any more of a problem as well, because the developers of Helldivers, Arrowhead, sadly is also shooting them in the foot in a few ways here. So let's go ahead and go into what exactly is happening with Arrowhead here. So as a lot of you probably can imagine, the Discord is kind of filled with, of course, a lot of toxicity right now, from disappointing to harassment to, of course, people picking fights and whatnot. That is not unheard of here, but a few things have kind of happened with, of course, some of the devs, some of the PR community manager stuff have been kind of not in the best behavior at the moment. Since at the time of this video, some of the higher ups had to, of course, come out and try to defuse some of this statement here, of course, with talking about when it comes to a lot of this stuff, since some of the community people and once again some of the devs have been kind of getting in a fight and being toxic in their own way to the player base, and once again that does not look good at all. But you can very much tell a lot of that seem to be, of course, a lot of the devs and a lot of the people working that is more front-facing is, of course, extremely upset and angry about what Sony is doing as well. But with that being said, there is no reason for, of course, the people to also lash out to the player base and the consumer base. Since, to be honest, we all on the same team. But there have been some statements that have been put out that is not exactly in the most favorable light when it comes to the community manager specifically. So that is also another side of the story, is, of course, some of the player base who is very vocal on the Discord channel have also been getting into fights with some of the mods over there. And of course, once again, this is just kind of adding a fuel to the fire in a lot of ways that kind of lead back into the whole review bombing of Helldivers right now. And to be honest, this is so unfortunate that something that is this great and this fantastic for the community itself to literally get destroyed, all because Sony, of course, want to have complete control over everything here. And like I've been saying forever, with Sony being pretty much the Apple of video game, of course, they are playing our hands here. And let's be totally honest, I have my own opinions about why Sony ain't put out PC games, and let's say most of it got to do with 2020 and the launch of the PS5, but that is a discussion for another time. Let me know down in the comment how you feeling about this. Is this pretty much making Helldivers just done for you? Are you going to continue playing? Can you any play it? Let me know below. And of course, I will keep you guys up to date if, for whatever reason, Sony does decide to backtrack on this. Because, let's be honest, as of now, continuing by going back to it being optional is really the only thing at that point that probably going to really help. And let's be honest, once again, damage been done. So we will see exactly if they help beyond a band-aid. But overall, with that, I'm gonna go ahead and do it for me for this. If you have found that video helpful in any way, shape, or form, be sure to do thumbs up, subscribe to keep up with all the stuff that is happening in this situation. And like always, I will go ahead and see you in the comments.